We all know white men are the most desired ethnic group of men in this country. What happens is black women understand that they have to compete for that white man. But y'all have no problem competing for those white men. But when it comes to black men, y'all feel like we should just kiss our ass and accept all the bad behavior and everything. I've heard black women say that they had to tone down their blackness in order to be with a white man. And that to me is crazy. That.
And she says she understands that. She understands having to tone down her blackness to be with a white man. What does that even mean, to have to tone down your blackness? Is she saying be less ghetto? Being ghetto and being black is not synonymous.
How do I feel about black women? And to answer that, the reason why I don't date them a lot of the times isn't necessarily because of the way that they look. It's because a lot of the behaviors that's championed in that community. Now, with that said, I've dated plenty of black girls before that were feminine and submissive and weren't a headache, but I've dated a lot, I've dealt with a lot that were headaches, and I've come to realize in that culture, unfortunately, it's championed to be strong and independent and not respect male authority in the black community, because a lot of them are fatherless, and since they're fatherless, they don't have that masculine authority to let them know, hey, you need to follow a man's lead. Women, a lot of the times from black communities, unfortunately, grew up in a single mother household where she tells them niggas ain't shit. Then she has a sister that says niggas ain't shit. The music perpetuate niggas ain't shit. And then what ends up happening is they grow up and then they don't have a general respect for men. And then they meet you, and then you get a lot of those toxic traits coming into you because they weren't naturally taught how to be a lady. They were very masculinized since birth because they didn't have a man figure.
You're right. Wait, let me just tell them this. Let me just say this. You're absolutely right. Just really quick, you're right, because I did that, and you got to take self-accountability.
And this is why so many black men marry and date outside of their race, because everything he said is the truth. Now, it's not just on the women's fault, also the bad behavior is with the men as well. But the problem that women have is that they have the attitude that no other race likes. Now, with the attitude that black men have, women of other races are more focused on money. So if you're financially successful, your behavior does not matter as much. But with women, your behavior matters because you have to bring into existence and teach the children. So this man is banking on that you will be a good teacher to his child. And unfortunately, if you're ghetto and ratchet, that probably wouldn't be the situation.
Just because a man sleeps with another woman does not mean he doesn't still respect you. That doesn't mean that he doesn't love you. No, she means nothing to him. And if you think I'm gonna give up my life for a man that loves me and respects me and take care of me, he didn't claim her. He put that ring on my finger. Okay. So why am I gonna leave over someone that doesn't mean anything? He's a man. My fiance, there is nothing that man could ever do that would make me leave him. Because to me, he's just being a man. A girl could come up to me and go, oh, well, I a man last night. I'd be like, congratulations. He still came home to me and I made him dinner as soon as he walked through the door. I have a family with him, you know? Like, I'm not gonna give it up for him just wanting something different. They call it a change up is what they want. It has nothing to do with their feelings. They probably won't even remember who the girl is. He treats me well. He respects me. I don't have to ask for anything. But at the same time, I also do what I'm supposed to do with a woman. I cook, I clean, I suck, I shut the fuck up. And if he's doing all of those things for me, and he feels like he wants to go out and just be a man, he's just being a man.
Now, this woman right here understands men. I have often asked, why do women complain so much when men cheat? When every man cheats. Okay, we won't say every man cheats, but 90% cheats and 99% wants another woman. And I've always felt that if you're in a relationship, both partners should be trying to make each other's life the best it could possibly be. So if this man, in order to have his best life, wants to be with other women, somehow you should facilitate that into your relationship. And maybe you'll be able to keep a man, and you'll be able to keep him happy. And he'll give you everything you ever wanted. And not saying that you have to stay there and be Miss Innocent. You can have fun in life as well.
I recently went to an event and there were about 1,000 people there. And of the couples that were there, about 95% of them were black men with non-black women. The person leading the event was a black man that was married to a white woman. I'd be lying if I said that seeing all of this at the same time was not triggering. This is pretty much what the dating scene looks like overall in LA.
I've said it before, I'll say it again. I think you are allowed to have whatever dating preferences you want. However, simultaneously, this is not the first black woman we've seen complaining that black men aren't dating black women, they're preferring non-black women. So if I were a black woman, I would want to know why exactly this is. I would want to sit down with some black men and ask them specifically, what is it about black women you're not as interested in, or what is it about non-black women you are interested in, and maybe use it as some cause for self-reflection. But all I ever see these black women do talking about the issue is complaining about it and hating on black men for having preferences.
I truly believe that 80% of black women know why black men are choosing other types of women. But I also believe that you only know what you're taught. You only know what you're seeing. And they have not seen feminine women. They have not seen women who build their men up instead of trying to tear them down. All these women have seen is other women with bad attitudes and bad behavior towards their men. And for a while, us men thought it was okay because that's all we've seen as well, until we started traveling overseas and dealing with other races and seeing that it's tradition for them to treat their men well. But there's really no way for a black woman to be able to see this because she's not dating other races of women.
I created this class alongside a student group for black males and began to implement that. And early on, what I found was I had more black women than men, which, numerically is no surprise. That tends to be the case anyway, as far as the enrollment in school. But I started to get fewer and fewer men and more women because my initial training in my doctorate was as a feminist. I hadn't dealt with gender prior to my doctorate. So, one of my primary mentors was ex-Black Panther. She was a feminist. And so I came in with that framework. The only way I knew how to deal with gender was through kind of what she taught me. So I'm teaching this black male class using this approach I got in grad school. And I'm watching the numbers of black males dwindle. I'm seeing the black males in my class looking at the ground, just kind of disconnected. And I'm seeing the women more and more excited. And what I realized was that it was becoming a class where the young ladies were using me to finger wag at the men on the campus to kind of nudge them to do what they wanted them to do. So when I started to actually ask the men what their perspectives were, and I started to kind of change the narrative, it was a learning process for me as well as for them. And after a couple of years, I noticed the women stopped coming. The number of black women dropped dramatically. The number of black males started to increase. And then after that, within the next couple of years after that, I noticed I started to get this population of white women.
Yeah.
I didn't know why they were there. I didn't know why they were there. And when I began to kind of ask them, in the hallways, under the, why are you taking this class? You have to be careful how you do it. And I started to find, well, my boyfriend is black, and I want to understand him and his family, or I'm trying to date some of the men on the basketball team or football team or whatever, but I don't understand them. So they were doing research. They're getting A's.
Yeah, very smart, very smart.
It's a weird thing where I got to give A+ to white women in a class on black males because they are handling all the homework assignments and reading everything to a T. They're asking me about the citations that were made by the author. I'm like, good Lord. But they were serious. They were doing research, and they were serious about it. And I would say, another 3 or 4 years after that, I noticed the population shifted from, white women to Latinos. And the Latinas were coming in with the same kind of intensity, the same kind of questions, the same motivation. They were dating black men. And this is Fresno. We're in Central California.
Yeah. No.
Black and Latino relationships here are not a strange thing by any measure. So, yeah.
Well, and again, go back to your early, because I said this is kind of what this conversation was born out of, this whole topic of grabbing your passport and SYSBMs and the controversy behind that. And it's like, you're literally telling me that you had a class that was dedicated to black men, where black women have an opportunity to study their men, understand what they're going through, understand how to relate to them better. And instead of us doing that, you have other women of other ethnic groups, other races going in, taking notes, using it as ammo to get the quote unquote best men out there. Yeah. So it's like, how can you compete with that? This is based upon what you just said. It's like, this is why they are winning our men. If that is such a big complaint, this is why these other women, white women, Latinas, Asians, this is why they are winning or stealing, however you want to put it, our men, because they're actually interested in their interest. Like I said, it goes back to, you know, I asked you a few minutes ago, I was like, why are black men asking for so little? And then you go on to say, well, they're kind of used to that. They're socialized for that. You know, there's all these complicated dynamics. And if you meet somebody you're asking for breadcrumbs and they give you a sandwich, it's like,
oh yeah.
Whoa, what is this? You know?
Now, what he just described is a complete disconnect between black men and black women. Now, why would me, as a person who has one life to live and wants to live my life to the best ability possible, deal with someone who is not interested but instead wants to wag their finger and get one up on me every chance they can? Why would I not go where I'm accepted and where I'm appreciated? So that's all I have for this video. Go ahead and subscribe if you like the content, and I got some more for you.